The person you love talked to someone about you. Listen to this. My child, be still for a moment and let your heart quiet itself, because what I am about to reveal is not rushed. I see the thoughts you try to hide, the questions you ask when no one else is listening, and the moments when you wonder whether you matter as deeply as you feel. I have heard every silent prayer, even the ones you could not put into words. Now listen carefully, because there is movement around your name, and it did not happen by accident. The person you love spoke about you when you were not present. They spoke your name in a moment when their heart was heavy and their thoughts were full. You may think silence means forgetting. But I tell you now, silence often means reflection. When your name crossed their lips, it carried weight. It stirred something that had been resting, something unfinished, something that could not be ignored. I allowed this conversation to happen because it revealed truths even they did not realize were rising to the surface. Do not assume the tone of that conversation before you hear my voice. You imagine many things when you are left alone with your thoughts, and not all of them are true. I am the God who sees beyond words, beyond expressions, beyond what is shown on the outside. I know the intention behind every sentence, the emotion behind every pause. What was said about you was not careless. It was not empty. It came from a place where honesty could no longer stay hidden. You have wondered if you were remembered. You have asked yourself if you were still considered, still valued, still held somewhere in the quiet corners of another heart. I tell you this gently. You were not forgotten. You were not dismissed. Your presence left an imprint, and impressions do not disappear simply because time moves forward. Some connections awaken slowly, like seeds beneath the soil, unseen yet very much alive. When they spoke about you, they did not speak as someone untouched. They spoke as someone who had been changed. They described your kindness, even if they did not call it that. They spoke of your strength, even if they framed it as something they did not know how to handle. They mentioned the way you made them feel seen, and that memory unsettled them in ways they could not easily explain. I allowed them to speak because speaking brings clarity, and clarity brings truth to the surface. My child, do not let fear tell you that this conversation was against you. Fear is loud, but it is not wise. Fear rushes to conclusions, but I move with purpose. What was said began a process, and processes do not always look beautiful at the start. Sometimes they begin with confusion, with questions, with a sudden realization that something meaningful was left unresolved. I know you have been waiting for a sign, something that tells you whether to hold on or let go, whether to hope or protect your heart. Hear me now, waiting does not mean wasting. There are seasons when I ask you to pause not because nothing is happening, but because something is aligning. While you wait, I am working in ways you cannot see, arranging conversations, shifting perspectives, softening hearts. The person you love is standing at a crossroads within themselves. One path leads back to familiar distractions, to comfort without depth, to silence that avoids responsibility. The other path leads toward honesty, toward facing emotions they tried to set aside, toward acknowledging the impact you had on their life. That conversation about you was a sign that the second path is calling them louder than before. Do not reach out in desperation. Do not try to control the outcome. Trust that I am capable of speaking to hearts without your intervention. You do not need to prove your worth. You do not need to remind anyone of your value. I have already placed that truth where it cannot be erased. What is meant to recognize you will do so without force. I see how deeply you feel. I see how you love with sincerity, how you give without calculating what you will receive in return. That is not a weakness. That is a reflection of me. But even sincere hearts must be protected, and I am teaching you discernment. Not distance. There is a difference. Discernment allows you to love without losing yourself. As this message unfolds, I ask you to look inward as much as you look outward. Ask yourself what you truly desire, not just from this person, but from life, from love, from the future you are growing into. Sometimes I allow others to speak about you so that you can hear me speak to you. Sometimes revelations are not about what will happen next, but about who you are becoming now. The conversation that mentioned your name planted a question in their spirit. What if I misunderstood them? What if I walked away too quickly? What if what we shared was rare? These questions do not fade easily. They echo in quiet moments, in late nights, in times of stillness. I did not allow these questions to arise to bring confusion, but to invite growth. You may not see immediate action. Do not mistake delay for denial. I am not rushed, and I am never late. I see the full picture, including the parts you cannot imagine yet. What is unfolding is bigger than a single moment, bigger than a single conversation. It is about alignment, of hearts, of timing, of purpose. Guard your thoughts during this season. Do not replay old conversations in a way that wounds you. Do not rewrite the past with blame or regret. Learn from it, honor it, and release what no longer serves your peace. I am doing a new thing within you. Even as I work around you. Make room for it. You are not waiting alone. I am with you in the quiet, in the wondering, in the moments when hope feels fragile. Let me carry what feels heavy. Let me guide what feels uncertain. Trust that if something is meant to return, it will do so with clarity, not confusion, with respect, not hesitation. And now, listen even more closely. because what I am about to reveal next is the part most people miss, the reason this conversation happened when it did, the shift that is already taking place, and what it means for the days that are approaching, because what comes next will challenge what you thought you understood, and it will require you to decide whether you are ready to receive what I have been preparing. As the story is not finished, and this is not the end, but the moment just before everything begins to change, because the moment before change is often quiet, and many mistake quiet for nothingness. But I tell you, my child, the stillness you are standing in is full. It is heavy with meaning, filled with unseen movement, and charged with intention. Just as the earth seems silent before a seed breaks open, so too is this season carrying more than your eyes can measure. The conversation that mentioned you did not end when words stopped. Words have a way of lingering, echoing in the chambers of the heart long after the voice fades. When your name was spoken, it awakened memories that had been carefully tucked away. Not erased, never erased, but placed aside because they were inconvenient, because they asked for courage, because they required honesty. And honesty, my child, is something many avoid until they can no longer escape it. I watched as they replayed moments with you in their mind. Small moments you may not even remember clearly, shared laughter, a look held a second longer than necessary, a conversation that felt easy and safe. These memories rose not to torment them, but to remind them. Some connections are not loud when they begin, but they are deep, and depth has a way of calling people back when surface distractions lose their shine. You must understand something important now, when I allow someone to speak about you. It is not always because they are ready to act. Sometimes it is because they are being prepared to see. Seeing comes before choosing. Awareness comes before change. I do not force hearts, I invite them. And that invitation has already been delivered. Do not underestimate the power of being spoken about with sincerity. Even uncertainty can be a doorway. Even confusion can be the beginning of clarity. The person you love is starting to recognize the space you occupy in their story, and once that space is acknowledged, it cannot be ignored without consequence. Truth, once revealed, demands a response, either to move toward it or to deliberately turn away from it. While this is happening, I am also working within you. I have been strengthening your patience, not to keep you waiting endlessly, but to prepare you for discernment. Patience is not passive, it is active trust. It teaches you to listen without panic, to observe without fear, and to remain grounded even when answers are delayed. I know there are moments when you wonder if you should stop hoping. Hope can feel risky when you have been disappointed before. But hope, when placed in me rather than in outcomes, becomes a source of stability rather than vulnerability. I am not asking you to cling to expectations. I am asking you to remain open to my direction. There is a reason I have not allowed you to move on too quickly. And there is also a reason I have not allowed everything to fall back into place immediately. Timing is not punishment, it is protection. I am aligning circumstances so that when clarity comes, it will not be fragile. It will be steady. It will be rooted in understanding rather than impulse. The person you love is learning something essential right now, something they could not learn while distracted. They are learning what absence feels like. They are learning what your presence added to their life. And sometimes, my child, appreciation is born not in possession, but in distance. Distance reveals value in ways closeness sometimes cannot. Do not think that I am idle while you wait. I am speaking to them in moments they least expect, through reflections, through realizations, through gentle nudges that remind them of what mattered. I am also guarding your heart, even when you do not realize it. There are things I have withheld, conversations I have delayed, outcomes I have paused, all to prevent unnecessary hurt and confusion. You are not being tested, you are being refined. There is a difference. Tests measure what you already know. Refinement transforms what you are becoming. And you are becoming someone who can receive love without losing peace, connection without compromise, and clarity without fear. Listen carefully now. The next phase will not unfold the way you imagine. It rarely does. You expect answers to arrive loudly, with certainty and immediate resolution. But I often speak through shifts, subtle changes in energy, unexpected messages, moments that feel ordinary but carry significance. Stay attentive without becoming anxious. Awareness does not require tension. If and when this person reaches out, it will not be accidental. It will be the result of internal struggle, realization, and courage. And when that moment comes, you will need the wisdom you are gaining now. Not every return is meant to restore what was, but some are meant to build something stronger, something more honest, something aligned with growth rather than comfort. I want you to release the urge to rehearse conversations that have not yet happened. Live in the present moment I have given you. This moment is shaping you. This moment is teaching you how to trust without control. And trust, my child, is one of the deepest forms of faith. You have asked me whether this connection is real, whether it was meaningful, whether it mattered. I answer you now, it mattered enough to change you. It mattered enough to leave an imprint. And anything that changes you leaves evidence behind. That evidence is what surfaced when your name was spoken. But hear me clearly, your worth is not determined by whether someone chooses to return. Your value does not fluctuate with another person's readiness. You are whole, seen, and cherished regardless of outcomes. I am not building your future on someone else's uncertainty. I am building it on my purpose for you. Still, I do not dismiss the desires of your heart. I placed them there. I honor them. And when they align with my will, I bring them to fruition in ways that exceed expectation. Sometimes that fulfillment comes through restoration, sometimes it comes through redirection. Both are acts of love. The suspense you feel is not meant to torment you. It is meant to draw you closer to me. To teach you to listen beyond noise. To help you recognize my voice even when answers are not immediate. This is how intimacy with me deepens, not through constant reassurance, but through learned trust. You are standing at a threshold. Behind you is what you know. Ahead of you is what you cannot yet see. The conversation that mentioned you was a signal, not a conclusion. It marked the beginning of awareness, not the end of the story. And stories that begin with awareness often unfold with transformation. Remain gentle with yourself. Do not rush your healing. Do not harden your heart in self-protection. Strength does not require walls, it requires wisdom. Let me show you how to remain open while staying grounded. I am preparing you for what comes next. I am preparing them as well. And preparation often feels like waiting, like uncertainty. Like standing still while everything inside you wants movement. But stillness is not stagnation when I am involved. Very soon, something will shift, internally first, externally second. You may sense it before you see it. A change in tone. A change in thought. A change in direction. Pay attention. I speak softly, but my words carry weight. Do not assume you know how this will unfold. Let yourself be surprised. Let yourself be guided. I am not finished writing this chapter, and neither are you. What was spoken in that conversation has set things into motion, and motion, once begun, does not simply stop. And now, my child, I ask you to stay with me in this moment, to breathe, to trust, and to remain open, because the next revelation, the part that will explain why your heart felt this message before your mind understood it. The reason you were drawn here at this exact time, and what is about to be placed before you, has not yet been spoken, and it will require your full attention, because what comes next will ask you to choose how deeply you are willing to trust me as the unfolding continues and the story moves toward a turning point that has not yet revealed itself. And I will speak again when you are ready. Now listen, my child, with a heart that is open and steady, because this is the part where many grow tired. Yet this is also the part where truth becomes clear. I have brought you this far not to leave you in uncertainty, but to prepare you for understanding. Everything that has stirred within you while hearing these words is not coincidence. It is recognition. Your spirit knows when I am speaking, even before your mind fully understands. you were drawn to this message because you are standing at the edge of clarity. Not the kind of clarity that answers every question at once, but the kind that gives you peace even before answers arrive. Peace is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of trust. And trust is what I am building within you now. The conversation where your name was spoken created a ripple, but ripples do not travel in straight lines. They expand outward, touching places unseen. That ripple reached you not through words, but through a feeling, a sudden heaviness, a quiet pull, a moment when your thoughts returned to them without warning. That was not weakness. That was awareness. Your spirit sensed a shift before your circumstances reflected it. I want you to understand something deeply now. Not every connection is meant to be rushed into resolution. Some are meant to teach you timing. Some are meant to show you your own depth. Some are meant to reveal how much you have grown compared to who you once were. This connection has already served a purpose, regardless of what comes next. And that purpose has been shaping you into someone more grounded, more discerning, more aligned with me. There will come a moment, soon, but not forced, when things feel different. It may come as a message, a meeting, or simply a release in your heart. You will feel lighter, clearer, less divided within yourself. That is how you will know that alignment has taken place. When things are aligned, they do not demand anxiety. They invite calm. If they return, it will not be with confusion, but with honesty. If they do not, you will not be left empty, but strengthened. Either way, you will not lose. I do not allow loss without purpose. I do not allow pain without growth. And I do not allow waiting without reward. You may have asked me, why did this have to be so unclear? And I answer you now, because clarity given too early can be misused. I needed you to grow into the version of yourself who could receive truth without fear, love without self-abandonment, and connection without losing peace. You are closer to that version now than you realize. Release the need to monitor every sign. Release the urge to interpret every silence. Let what is unfolding unfold. You do not need to chase what is meant for you. What is meant for you recognizes you without pursuit. It finds you when you are rooted, not when you are restless. I am proud of how you have carried yourself through uncertainty. I see the restraint you have practiced, the maturity you have developed, the way you have chosen reflection over reaction. These things matter. They shape your future far more than a single outcome ever could. Do not let this season harden you. Let it refine you. Do not let unanswered questions turn into self-doubt. Let them turn into faith. You are not being overlooked. You are being prepared. The person you love is on their own journey of understanding, and their pace does not dictate your worth. What is meant to meet you will arrive at the right time, in the right way, with the right heart posture. I am not the author of confusion. I am the author of peace. Soon, you will look back on this moment and realize it was a turning point, not because of what happened externally, but because of what shifted within you. You learn to wait without weakening. You learn to trust without clinging. You learn to listen without fear. These are not small lessons. They are foundational. As this message comes to its close, I want you to carry this truth with you. You are deeply known, fully seen, and intentionally guided. Nothing about your life is random. Nothing about your heart is wasted. And nothing about this moment is without meaning. Walk forward with calm confidence. Rest in the knowing that I am working even when you cannot see the work being done. Let go of what you cannot control, and hold tightly to what you know, my presence, my guidance, and my promise to lead you toward what is best for you. The story you are part of is still unfolding, but you do not need to fear the next chapter. I am already there. And when the time is right, what needs to be revealed will be revealed with clarity, gentleness, and peace. Remain still when you need to be still. Move when you are guided to move. And above all, trust that I am with you, now, always, and beyond what you can imagine. Amen.